There's a very specific moment in a company's life that, in my experience, fundamentally changes how the market starts to look at it and how it starts to value the potential it has. It's a moment where the conversation stops being about whether the business model works at all and instead shifts towards how big the opportunity could actually become if things continue to execute well. That's the frame I want to use in this video because it's exactly how I'm looking at HIMS right now. I want to walk you through why this company is on my radar and what global expansion could realistically mean for the business over the coming years, and how this fits into the broader way we think about markets inside of X10.
Welcome to the game, it's the instant stocks by Mikhail Kuhar.
Before we go deeper, X10 Day Trade is a software that I'm a part of building that removes you from the trades. It removes your skill set, your emotional bias, and your reactivity, which most of the time, that's where day traders fail. Most of the time, day traders spend thousands and thousands of dollars, even hundreds of thousands of dollars, learning lessons in the market, and the market can be a savage. That's why over the last 4 years, we've developed software that removes you from the equation. You are able to invite professional traders into your brokerage account and trade on your behalf. And the great thing is you never send money directly to us. Here are some of the results from our clients in just the last week of trading. This is a software you turn on and you let it do the work for you. If you want to find out more about that, there'll be a link below and we can jump on a call and I can walk you through the entire process and see if it's a good fit for you. I'll leave that down below, but let's get into the video. But before we do, of course, always, this isn't financial advice. It's simply me sharing how I'm thinking about HIMS and what I'm watching as the story continues to develop. When it comes to global expansion, the way I like to think about it is actually pretty simple. Almost every truly large company follows a similar arc. They start in one market, usually the US, and they spend years refining the product, fixing the mistakes, and learning what customers actually want, and slowly building trust. This week when I saw one of the products recalled, it was actually interesting to see how quick people are to talk bad about them as a company. But as you evolve and grow, these are the foundations. These are the mistakes or the lessons or the things you need to work around so then you can truly build momentum as you scale. And during this testing phase, figuring out what customers actually want, what your ideal client is, you start to build trust because people build a familiarity with the brand. During this phase, growth can feel really uneven, and some years it can feel frustrating and there's a lot of noise. But once that foundation is in place, expansion stops being about experimentation and starts becoming about growth multiplying. One of the things with a subscription-based model, it's not linear growth. It can be up and down, up and down. And eventually you're going to get to a place, there's such a market adaptation to this product, to this service, to this frame of how the business runs. It creates a bell curve because there's so much infrastructure in place. Everything runs, so it's a matter of just pouring more users in. And we're seeing them do that year after year with the amount of revenue they're generating. And the business gets to a place where you're no longer guessing whether people want the product. You're taking something that already works and offering it to a much larger audience as you expand into different markets around the world. In healthcare specifically, this matters even more because access to doctors isn't optional. It's not a luxury and it's not a trend. It's a basic need that exists in every country. Telehealth solves that. They solve that core problem where everywhere access, convenience, and privacy. That's why global expansion is such a powerful lever for companies operating in this space. Before any of that really matters though, the fundamentals have to be real. What makes HIMS interesting to me is that it's already well past the experiment phase. They've scaled the platform to over 2 million subscribers and they're generating well over $1 billion a year in revenue. That scale matters. And being someone who's been a part and seen behind the walls of subscription-based models with 8-figure entrepreneurs, one of the biggest things you need to solve is churn. And if you don't know what churn is simply just the percentage of people that exit out of a subscription. So you'll get to a point, say you've got 1,000 members, and if you're only signing up 100 members every single month and you have a churn of 10%, you'll hit a cap in revenue. HIMS has shown time and time again, they have not met that cap. They're either bringing new products to market, which is reducing that churn, or people are finding so much familiarity in the product and service that it's so sticky that the churn actually is a lot lower than what it normally would be. When you expand into different markets and you expand into more products, especially with products, you start to reduce the churn every single month because there's more reasons for people to stay. And that really matters because it tells you this isn't a company guessing anymore. The demand is real and the distribution works, and the business model has already been tested under pressure. Like I already mentioned before, it's a subscription-based model. Healthcare subscriptions behave very differently from consumer apps or even entertainment platforms. See, once people trust the product and the doctors behind it, they tend to stay. People don't cancel healthcare lightly, and that creates a level of predictability, what allows the business like this to compound quietly over long periods of time. The next question then becomes about speed. Expanding internationally can be incredibly slow and expensive if you try to build everything from scratch, especially in healthcare where regulation, licensing, and compliance really matters. That's why the Zava acquisition is worth paying attention to. Zava already operates across key European markets, which means they understand local regulation, already work with licensed doctors, and already serve existing patients. They're tapping into a brand new customer pool. Instead of guessing how Europe might work, HIMS effectively brought infrastructure and time that allows them to focus on what they're already good at, which is branding, subscriptions, and scaling the platform rather than spending years figuring it out and try to work out compliance from zero in different countries. This doesn't mean results show up overnight. Global expansion rarely works that way. What it does mean, though, is now that the distance between opportunity and execution becomes much, much shorter. And that's often where long-term value is created. One thing I've learned over time is that markets don't just price numbers, they price narratives, and a company confined to one geography has a natural ceiling. No matter how well it executes, you just have a limited amount of people to tap into. And when a company shows a credible path to global scale, that ceiling really starts to lift. And what's really exciting about that is that's often when valuation frameworks change, not because earnings suddenly explode, but because the story itself becomes larger. This doesn't mean straight line growth or zero volatility. There will be pullbacks and there will be disappointments and periods of uncertainty. But what it does mean is that the long-term story starts to matter more than the short-term noise. And that's the phase HIMS may be moving into. From here, there are a few things I'm personally watching. The first is execution outside the US, not announcements or press releases, but actual subscriber growth in international markets. The second unit is economics. If HIMS can maintain healthy margins while expanding internationally, that tells you the model travels well and isn't overly dependent on one geography. The third is trust. Healthcare brands are built slowly, but once they're established and they show they're durable, people are very unlikely to switch providers. This truly isn't a short-term trade thesis for me anymore. It's a longer-term business story that I'm watching as it continues to unfold. Most people want exposure to high-quality US stocks and the strong business narratives, but they don't have the time, structure, emotional discipline to manage entries and exits and risks consistently. What we focus on inside of X10 Day Trade is instead of you doing all of this, you can leverage our professional trading team who handle everything automatically inside of our proprietary software. We've spent over $1 million doing this. The great thing is you never actually have to spend us money. All the entries and exits are done directly into your broker account. If you are interested in HIMS, follow along. I'll be posting videos daily, keeping you updated from my lens and where I'm looking at. We're not so much going to be talking about the stock price and what's happening there. We will, but I'm going to be speaking more about business fundamentals and how I'm seeing this business evolve and adapt as we go. And if you want to learn the one metric that's going to allow you to position yourself in the market to see when HIMS is going to go much, much higher, click this video over here and check it out.